this moving. It's Young People Nation.
Welcome to Young People Nation. Listen to us weekly as we commit to bring transparency, healing, and truth to the everyday situations in life that might bring you down. Join us for your weekly dose of inspiration. Thank you for listening to Young People Nation. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now, here's your host, Eugene and Donna Perry.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Giving the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening. This is the Perrys with Young People Nation. And it's just us today, baby.
All right.
It's just us today. And
Well, it's always us.
it is God first and us, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. We recently had a conversation with a young lady, and it sparked something in us. And we talked about mental health. And she talked about mental health starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to back up a little bit. We first would like to thank God, thank our sponsors and supporters. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Love you.
Yes, we could not do this without the community, God first and the community. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Now, going back, that young lady said mental health starts at home. And this is a young adult who is, she's a college student.
Mm-hmm.
And she deals with therapy and things of herself. And I thought about how can we as parents, our daughters are grown at this point, but reflection and being able to share wisdom for those who have young children in the home. So how can we as parents help our children? How can we help? And I thought about the power of words, positive versus negative. What's been your experience with that?
Well, one of the main things with words have power. They have meaning and also who it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And being the parent, like we used to say in the military, first line supervisor, your words carry a lot of weight. And therefore, if you call them a duck, they'll grow up to be a duck.
Mm.
If you call them to be a genius, they grow up to be a genius. If you call them to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a comedian, that's what they'll be.
Mm.
And that's the last memory, the last thoughts, the last goal is, and drive is to be that. And they grow up. You know, little kids be running around saying, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a postman.
Yeah.
Or a little girl say, I want to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one would say, I want to be a helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
And they be running around and playing and running in costumes, building their little forts, their little buildings and all, because you have set the groundwork of a positive image that they want to imitate. Like you see the babies walk around with diapers on, and they got the mama or daddy shoes on walking around the house.
I think that speaks volume, too, to see a child walking in the parent's shoes.
Yes.
You know, that says something. So,
Well,
yeah.
well, another thing, they only pick the person's shoes that they like. They don't mess with the rest of them.
Truth. Okay. So
Yeah.
it sound like you talking about Peyton walking in your shoes, because he do go get your shoes and walk around in them.
Well, he know.
But that speaks volume.
He knew who got the good feet.
Okay. So, as a parent, and preparing that safe space, peaceful place for your children, because we all deal with things. And so, in your perspective, how can a parent create a safe space for the child or the young adult to be able to talk when they're still in the home?
Well, the basic foundation is letting them know they're loved. You know, and instead of insulting them or calling them names or saying they're not going to be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then that bleeds over into the classroom. You know, fortunately, we never got really a phone call from school saying our kids was disrupted or doing whatever they weren't supposed to do or be what they're not supposed to be, or even talking back to the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
They were very, very compliant and very energetic to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Being a substitute teacher, I saw a lot of that in the classroom. Kids on the cell phone talking about what happened last night, who went with who, and I'd be like, Pam, we're doing geography. Wait a minute, Mr. Perry. I just got one more thing to say, and I'll blow my whistle. And she would say, "What? You can't blow no whistle here." And I blow it again. I say, "Get in front, lean to the rest, Pam." Now, one thing
Lord.
about that, I am the adult and you are the you are the student, and we're not gonna have that kind of activity in here. You're here to learn, not what's on TV. And then, you know, things went around, and when she cut up again, you know, she got sent to the principal's office. Simple as that.
And so sometimes, and I've never been a teacher, but in our journey with dealing with the podcast, learning that sometimes the 18-year-old, the 16-year-old actually is acting out of being 4-year-old trauma or things of that nature, things at the home. And in school, as someone that you was a teacher at one time before coming in the military, and then after retiring, you tried out substitute teaching. It can be a challenge sometimes to get the parents involved because they're so busy working and trying to provide a living for those children. Am I correct?
Well, it isn't the part that they're working, because parents always work and they should. It's caring and making time. You make time for what you like, what you're interested in. If you don't even like your own kids, how's the teacher gonna do anything with them? Because a lot of kids see their teachers as the role model. They see them as, I wish I was their parent type thing. Because a lot of these parents are kids themselves. When I worked at Youth Challenge, a lot of the grandmothers was 35 years old.
Wow.
Our grandmother at 35. I was like, wow. I was telling one young man, I said, you can't be walking around with your girlfriend. He said, no, that's my mama. I said, what? You know, and then she had him at around 12.
Wow.
And I was like, huh? You know, it was kind of stunned me a little bit.
And no judgment. And because
no judgment.
Yeah,
no.
Because that lets you know something, going back to what the young lady said, that mental health starts in the home.
Yes.
And so your mind can't even imagine somebody impregnating her at 12.
Right.
You understand? And so I want to go back to where you talked about love, and that love is not just a word, it's an action.
Yes. And love is more than just physical. It's mental also.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And also showing that you care. And a lot of kids have been caught in this trap of having relationships with one another is love. We had a kid, he was 16 years old, and he got 4 kids. And I told him, and he would actually want to run away, talking about, I'm in love with this girl and all like that. Hey, you got 3 other kids. I'm like, now you're going to have a 4th kid at 16 years old, and each one discovered that you got to pay child support. You paying child support around 16, 17 years old to 4 different baby mamas.
And you know, the thing is he has no idea. You understand what this means for him as a father of 3 at 16.
Yeah, he's a kid himself.
Wow.
Yep.
And so I want to even go a step further with mental health being at home. It starts at home. Communication.
Yeah.
Effective communication. We've learned as our daughters have gotten older, to listen more to understand and not respond. And so I'm looking at my husband. He's like, yes.
Yeah, you get me with that one.
Yeah. We've had to learn to listen, to understand. And I go back to even Amber when she was like 16, and she came to us and said she needed help. And we were really busy about life, and we said we're going to pray with you and things. But thank God she had enough wisdom to understand she was on your medical, and she went and got help.
Yes. One thing you got to understand, I have nothing against the religious side of the house and all, but the thing is about it, when you pray and have faith in something, everybody has the same faith or greater. One person that doesn't have the faith in what they pray for, that prayer is not going to work. And because everybody got to be on the same accord and have the faith that this thing is going to happen. Because if you have somebody there that's going to doubt and believe the prayer is not going to work, that's it. It stops it.
Well, that goes with where our podcast. The purpose of our podcast, God has many ways of helping us.
Oh, yes.
We just have to be open. We must be open to the method he gives you. And for Amber, she needed professional counseling.
Yes.
And so with our young people being bullied at school, and then they come home and is torment. My goodness.
Well, coming home and facing a volatile home life where the parents are fighting, or somebody breaking in, or even if, unfortunately, the parents selling drugs out the house. There's many different scenarios that you never know what hell a person go home to when they leave. And
go ahead.
And in that, we stand on the outside that if you do know people in those conditions, don't stand idly by and let it happen, and take command of the situation and offer the child a way out. Because everyone needs to have a qualified life to live.
It's one thing I learned even with you in our marriage, that peace was more important than love. And so I was like, I couldn't fathom that at first, but as you shared your journey with me, I was like, okay, it's more peaceful. You can love a person, but if I'm loving you and my brains are scrambled, that's not good. And so with our young people, parents, let's pay attention to our young people or our children, and have those conversations, those talks. Sometimes when we ask our children, I remember we asking our daughters when they was in high school, how was your day? They may say everything was fine, but we learned later everything was not fine.
Right. And
so learning to listen, to understand, and creating a safe space, a no non-judgment space for your child to talk.
But one of the alarming things about that is, as we found out later on, our kids told us, you actually have a father at home. They were shocked because there were so many homes only had one parent. And it wasn't the dad. Dad was nowhere in sight. It was just the mama or grandmama there running the show, and it was just like the movie Alien. It was so out of the ordinary to have a father there. In the home. The kids were like, "You got a dad at home?" They're looking at each other like, "You something odd,"
Yeah, and my husband is huge about fathers being on their business and being in the home. So you're going to hear that from him in our podcast, because it is essential for a father to set the atmosphere or the pace, or for the child to feel covered. But if that child don't feel covered, if they feel like if they say something, they're going to get attacked, or that you're going to holler at them, they clam up. And sometimes that's where, like talking with one of our next guests that we're going to be recording with very soon, that the children they go out to the streets where they feel that they're accepted.
Yes.
And so, parents, we just want to share that when this young lady told us mental health starts at home.
Yes.
You know, you can live in a house, you can have all these different benefits and things, but what makes a home is God first, the foundation, love, joy, peace, dedication. And you have to have a listening ear for these young people because they want to talk.
Yeah.
I can look back with our daughters, you understand, and they want to say something, but they're a little afraid because facial expressions, they know you'll take it to another level. And so it's just important to have that communication with your children.
But children want to be able to talk and what's on their mind and to express themselves. And we as adults should be open to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And once we listen and figure out what kind of lifestyle or attitude our kids have, because each kid got a different personality. Sure, Amber sure did.
Yes.
Have a different personality than the other kid.
Yes.
And
yes.
once you understood them and all, it's our duty and our purpose to create a safe environment that they can nurture and grow and become more than the us. In other words, when I say more than us, the child should be more than the parent. The child should supersede the parent. And therefore, each generation turn over, it keep progressing, not regression. And all.
So the child should be better than the parent.
They should be 2.0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Better. Okay.
Bigger, better, stronger.
Okay.
Yeah, and accomplish more.
Okay. And so with our young people and stuff, and okay, let's go here as well. That in order for you to create that space for the children, you got to do some self-assessment yourself.
You got to be home to do it. For one, if you trying to enforce the rules and you ain't home yourself, out at the club or going with wife number 2 or 3 girlfriend or and so forth.
He's gonna be on you, okay?
Or spending all the money or gambling all the money away. That's an unsafe environment because that kid is gonna come to the point where I want food. I'm tired of going to bed hungry, or they're gonna say I don't want to wear the same clothes to school day after day after day. They're gonna steal it. They're gonna create their own environment, and us as parents, we are responsible for what kind of attitude and how that kid carry themselves. Just like racism is taught at home. They don't just get up one day and say, "Oh, I think I'll be a racist." No, but what it is that kid will go out there and create his own environment or whoever he is around, and if it's at home, that's what they're gonna do.
And what's the beautiful thing, and we've traveled, we've been around all races with our children.
Yes.
And everybody gets along great. You understand?
Oh yeah. They'll be best friends.
Yes. Even to this day.
Yep.
Turn
around, get married.
Well, but when it comes to creating that safe space at home, I'm huge about that.
Right.
And those boundaries and recognizing where that child is at the time and certain actions that you say, well, wait a minute, that's out of their norm.
Yeah.
So let me go over here and see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And when it's out of their norm, because we all have patterns.
Yes.
And so when that pattern is off, you're like, something is off with that child or that young adult.
Well, in today's society and all like that, the kid's going to create his own environment. Once your kid is born and and they get around 14 and 15 years old, they change. And it's not a rule book, but they change. They might climb out the window at night and be at some party where you sleep, or come in just before dawn, and you don't know what they were doing because they had created their own environment. You can give them freedom, but you can't give them too much freedom, because too much freedom is time wasted.
Order.
Yes.
Okay, so we're closing out our first session, creating a healthy space for our children. And we never know who's listening, so we always like to give out the 988 hotline. I was just in a class on mental health for my job, and I was like, man, these are the hotlines that we use. And so it's the 988 hotline. There's a text 741-741 that's free 24/7. There's the NAMI, that's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And you can pull them up in the state that you live in and get the proper help you need. And parents, don't be prideful when it comes to your child's mental health. One suicide is too many suicides. So don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Mr. Perry.
Well, you got to take time out and be able to communicate with your kids, because no parent want to be that parent that child went up and shot up the school, or did something disrupted, or destroyed a building, or did something out of the ordinary, and then you're going to be the focus of the neighborhood of a bad parent. Once you get that label, that stench will follow you for the rest of your life. You'll be on every news report. You'll be on every YouTube, and you'll be the poster child of a bad parenting. And nobody wants that, no matter what you've been through in life. This has been Young People Nation, and remember, there is always hope.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know His word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Give the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross. He the #1 prospect. He the top boss. I was broke, I was empty. He the one that paid the cost. Really thought that I was cool. There was nothing like the Savior. Now it's time for the truth. The whole world been waiting. It's Young People Nation. 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 The whole world been waiting. Whatever you going through, I know what He gonna do. Don't matter the circumstance, we going back to the root. Keep going, keep going. Let that seed keep growing. You need peace and we know it. Now it's time to live holy. Young People Nation. You know what time it is. Young People Nation. Get ready, the time is here. Get ready, we vibing here. We about to let God in here. Young People Nation. It's Young People Nation. Yeah, do it for the heavens, you know where we going. Influenced by His love, you know we gotta show it. It's time to put the youth on to what God is doing. Cause I can tell you now, right now, that God is moving. It's Young People Nation.